The Power of Education, an interview with social media guru Ryan Kackley, and a delicious baked crab dip. Stick around.
Welcome to Business Edge Radio, the show that gives you tips, tricks, tools, and techniques about how to build a more profitable business, while at the same time creating your perfect lifestyle. It's a show about working less and living more. A few golden nuggets, a little bit of wisdom, and over 35 years of business experience to help you keep your edge. Lifestyle entrepreneur, best-selling author, internationally renowned business speaker, and daddy of three, Mitch Graff brings the heat with actionable techniques for building the business and lifestyle of your dreams. Now your host, Mitch Graff.
Happy day, Unleashed Tribe, and welcome to another fun-filled edition of Business Edge Radio, the ultimate brainstorming session for your business and your life. I hope the sun is shining wherever you are in this wonderful world, and that you're having a perfect 10 days so far. I'm your host, Mitch Graff, and I'm very excited for today's show. We discuss the topic of education, why it's important that you keep yourself continuously bombarded with new information, and how your business can provide education to your customers. I have an interview with social media expert Ryan Kackley, who discusses the ins and outs of developing a social media strategy that works for you. I answer one of your burning questions from my mailbag, and I want you to stick around until the end so I can share with you a recipe for a delicious baked crab dip. I want to start today's show with a very simple yet powerful question. What would you do with an extra 30 minutes every day to do with whatever you wanted? Would you spend that time with your children, with your spouse, with your best friend? Would you take that time and invest it into your own personal education? Possibly donate that time to your favorite charity? Invest it in growing your business, training staff, or launching that new venture you've been thinking about. Or maybe just spending a little time on your back deck, enjoying a little bit of peace and quiet. What would you do with an extra hour every single day? What about 2 hours each and every day to make a difference in your life and the lives of the people that mean the most to you? If you ask people what their biggest problem is today, I venture to say that a majority of us would say that we just don't have enough time in the day to get the things done that we want. And with all the chaos and craziness in the world right now, it seems that we're busier than ever, but we seem to get less and less done. We each have 86,400 seconds in our days. That is it. And we can't create any more of it. There's not a 25th hour that we can magically make appear. The only thing that we can control is how we spend that time. As we've discussed before on the show, our time is the most valuable asset that we have, not just as business people, but as human beings. The biggest problem I hear from people all around the world is that they don't have enough time to accomplish their dreams or their vision for the future. It's a common problem for all of us, regardless of our income status, where we live, what we do for a living, who our friends are, or how many children we have. Each passing day that goes by is a lost opportunity to make the biggest difference possible. We all know that in order to work smarter, we have to make sure that we're spending our time on the activities that bring us the biggest bang for our buck, and delegating and automating or eliminating the activities that tend to get us stuck in the mud. Pareto's principle suggests that 80% of our results are derived from 20% of our high-valued activities, meaning that the other 80% of our time brings us only 20% of the intended results. And that's one of the basic tenets of this show, Business Edge Radio. To learn ways to become more efficient with everything we do, so we free up our time to reinvest into things that bring us bigger results and brings us joy to our lives. All right, play with me for just a minute. Let's say that you evaluate how you are spending your precious time each day and you discover that you could free up an additional 60 minutes every day by becoming more efficient with your schedule and listing your priorities. And let's just say you decide to reinvest that time into your education, and you can pick the topic. It might be on selling, marketing, accounting, branding, how to manage your employees, time management, gardening, parenting, finger painting, card tricks, being a mixologist, playing the flute, training an ostrich, learning the fine art of playing chess, meditation, cooking, bird watching, investing in the stock market, becoming a social media expert, or something as simple as learning how to make the best chocolate chip cookies the world has ever seen. If you invested just 60 minutes a day into your education, I can guarantee that you will be at the absolute top of your food chain within 1 year. Can you imagine how great you would become if you devoted 365 hours into learning something? That's the equivalent of spending 45 8-hour days learning how to be a master of your chosen field and keeping the edge of your sword sharp. This might sound daunting, which is why 99% of all people on this earth do not make daily learning part of their routines. It's scary and potentially overwhelming. But I promise you that if you make that commitment to yourself, after only 1 year, you will become one of the biggest experts in whatever subject you choose. Would that completely revolutionize your business, your life, and your outlook? You bet it would. And learning can come to you in a variety of shapes. Reading a book or a magazine, listening to a podcast or an audiobook, watching videos, taking an online course, or attending a workshop or a seminar, or talking with a group of peers. So here's some tips on ways you can incorporate some daily learning into your lifestyle. Number 1, create a pod of time that is purely dedicated to your education. Now, some people are morning people, and some do their best work at night. I'm a morning person for sure, and I spend the first 60 minutes of my day immersed in my education. I listen to podcasts, I read books, I watch videos, and once you've established when this pod of time will happen for you, make sure you do everything in your power to not allow any disruptions to take place. If you're distracted for a mere 15 seconds, like looking at a text that just came in or checking out a Facebook notification, it takes you 10 minutes to get back into the mental state you were in before the interruption took place. So that leads right into number 2. Turn off all notifications on your devices and let the outside world know that you are not to be disturbed during this time. I realize that this is not always going to happen, but it's important that you set up yourself for success as much as possible. If you are focusing on, let's say, how to create effective YouTube ads for your business, and you were knee-deep into a video on how to select a demographic, and all of a sudden you hear the first inclination is to pick up your phone and see who sent you a text or reacted to your Facebook post. In fact, I bet that when you heard the your body had an actual physical reaction and you thought about looking at your phone, and you probably did actually. That's why it's so important to turn off your notifications and keep out distractions during this pod of time as much as you can. Number 3, create a journal and take notes, regardless of how you're learning. It's a proven fact that if you write something down on paper, you are much more likely to remember it later. And if you write it down and then review it 1 to 2 times within 24 hours, that retention goes up exponentially. And I'm not talking about typing your notes into a computer. I'm talking about the old-fashioned technique of writing it down with a pen and paper. It's been proven time and time again to lead to increased brain activity and brain synapses, and a much higher retention of the information. So if you hear or read something you want to remember or you want to utilize later, write it down and reread your notes 1 to 2 times within that first 24 hours. This is beneficial whether you are a college student trying to pass advanced cell biology or a frontline salesperson trying to learn everything they can about the art of salesmanship. All right, number 4, make sure you stick to your objectives. The 2190 rule states that it takes 21 days to create a positive habit and 90 days to make it a permanent lifestyle change. Commit to your goal for 21 days and it will become a habit. Commit to your goal for 90 days, and it will become a part of who you are as a person. Now, it also takes 21 days to break a bad habit. If you could replace a negative habit with a positive one, the world can be yours, and nothing will be able to stop you from becoming an expert. My review today is on an eye-opening book entitled The Time Chunking Method, a 10-step action plan for increasing your productivity by Damon Zahariadis. Time chunking is just another name for setting aside an allotted amount of time to complete an activity or a project. I write about it in my book, The Business Basics Bootcamp, The Ultimate Crash Course, and I refer to it as pods of time. And this is just another way of approaching this ongoing challenge that we all face. The key to using the time chunking method effectively is to adjust it to your personal workflow. And the book covers exactly how to do it as the chapters go by. Here's just a few of the topics that Damon covers in his book. The basics of using the technique and how to get started. What to do when you have a laundry list of small tasks to complete. How to modify the time chunking method to complement your workflow. The most common roadblocks you'll face and how to overcome them. The key differences between time boxing and time chunking. How sleep affects your success. How your diet plays a role in your productivity. How to control your stress levels and squeeze maximum mileage from every day. The fundamentals of goal setting. Actionable tips and hacks to prevent burnout. And dozens of other ideas to get the most out of your breaks that separate your time chunks. His goal is to give you a complete action plan that you can use to manage your time and increase your daily output. It's a fairly short book, about 150 pages, and I believe will set you down the path to getting the most of your time each and every day. You can find this book as well as many other great reads at powermarketing101.com/hotlist. That's powermarketing101.com/hotlist. Hello, Unleashed Tribe. I am so honored to have you as a loyal listener, and I'm very excited to tell you about the Business Edge Radio app, now available on Apple and Android devices. You can catch up on past episodes, watch short videos of the Business Edge Minute, our 60-second show that gives you quick and easy tips on building a better business and living a better life. And you'll get access to bonus materials that are only available on the app. In fact, I have a nice little PDF bonus waiting for you there right now. Plus, you can email the show, call the show, connect with us on social, check out our website, and even make a nice fluffy omelet. No, you can't really do that. Just go to the iTunes Store or Google Play Store, and you can download the Business Edge Radio app so you can be one of the cool kids on your block. Business Edge Radio, the ultimate brainstorming session for your business and life. Now available in the App Store. Download it today. And if you don't, I'll come visit you on your day off. Fans of Business Edge Radio, I have a very special treat for you. As you know, I love barbecuing and making up any excuse to get myself outdoors. And that's why I'm so excited to partner with Barbecue Nation. They make incredible sauces and rubs and spices and meat shredders and grill scrapers and lots more. And they're offering a deal for our listeners. Check out bbqnation.net. And when you place an order for any of their products, you'll receive a 20% discount off your order when you enter the word EDGE at checkout. Looking for a magnet that lists your cooking temperatures or different types of smoking woods? They got that. Need a heavy-duty set of meat shredders for your pulled pork or shredded chicken sliders? They got that too. Or my favorite is their Magic Dust Everything Rub that will spice up just about any dish. Log on to bbqnation.net. That's bbqnation.net today. And when you enter the code EDGE at checkout, you'll receive a 20% discount just because you hang out with us on the show. Barbecue Nation, get your grill on.
Here's my email address.
Use the email.
Email.
We get your mail. Let's dive into Mitch's mailbag and answer some of your burning questions.
Over the past several weeks, I've received a ton of questions from people wanting to know more about what I call the 24/7 lifestyle and how they can adopt the philosophy into their own lives. Well, instead of answering each question, I'm going to give you kind of a 30,000-foot view of what this philosophy looks like from above, okay? The typical definition of 24/7 means 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If you see a sign on the outside of a retail store that says 24/7, that means they're open every hour of every day. If you hear it in reference to someone as a worker, it typically refers to someone who works all the time, never letting up, never taking their foot off the pedal, always working. And it's something that many entrepreneurs and business owners have fallen prey to. And in order to commit to your job at that level, whatever you do, something has to give. And that is time with your family, your friends, time with yourself, and time to invest in your self-improvement. If I were to ask you this, if you could figure out a way to work only 24 hours a week, 7 months a year, and the rest of the time you could spend doing whatever it was that you wanted, is that something that would be of interest to you? Most people answer that question with a big, fat, and resounding yes. So that's where we need to start. We all would like to work less and live more, right? Well, that's where my definition of 24/7 comes in, meaning 24 hours a week, 7 months a year. And I realize at first thought, it may sound a little pie in the sky since many listeners probably have regular 40-hour work weeks or more, and the boss would never let you work only 24 hours a week. And I get it and understand that. But I believe that we all could do a better job of making sure we're working as efficiently as possible during the working hours that we have. We can learn to automate certain tasks during the day, or we can identify what that top 20% of our activities are that brings us the 80% of our results, and then either eliminating or delegating the other 80% of these time suckers. So here's the thing. The 24/7 lifestyle is more of a shining beacon on the hill, a goal that we all can have dangling out in front of our nose, a reminder that we need to constantly be looking for ways to become more productive in less time. I've been working on my version of the 24/7 lifestyle since the mid-90s, and there's been times that I have been uber successful with it and times that I have fallen flat on my face. But it's always at the very center of how I decide what to do and how to spend my time. Each day consists of those 86,400 seconds. That's it. And each day that goes by is one less day that we have to be alive and enjoy life to its fullest. Personally, I want to make sure that the choices I make on how I spend my time are for the right reasons and not because of some willy-nilly motivation. My goal is to become an effective manager of my time, to make the right choices on where I spend my time, and to be as efficient as possible during my working time so that I don't fall into the old 24/7 trap. I guess another way of saying this is that it's more about the journey than it is about the destination. So if you face the same daily battles that I do, I encourage you to take it as a personal challenge to make small improvements every day. If you do this, can you just imagine where you'll be in 365 days? Thanks to everyone who has sent in a question centered around this topic, and I hope this gave you a bit of understanding that you can apply today. If you'd like me to answer one of your burning questions, send it to info@businessedgeradio.net. That's info@businessedgeradio.net. And maybe, just maybe, I will read your question on the air.
Now it's time for stories from the field. The great, the good, and the terrible.
Let's start with a couple of terrible stories from the field. Imagine that you've ordered 3 cartons of toilet paper from Amazon. The cost is $88.77. Then imagine that you are charged $7,455 for shipping. Yikes! That's exactly what happened to Barbara Carroll. But it gets worse. At first, Miss Carroll wasn't too concerned. Amazon, after all, has a reputation of looking after its customers. Not this time. She complained to Amazon 6 times. She wrote a letter to CEO Jeff Bezos, and after every complaint, she received a form letter explaining that there would be no refund because the delivery was made on time and undamaged. Double yikes. It wasn't until she took the matter to a local TV station and the story went viral for Amazon to take action. 2.5 months later, she was finally reimbursed. Hey, mistakes happen. We all get that. But the unwillingness of Amazon to take ownership over this issue is completely unacceptable. All right, MoviePass, the company that lets you see a movie a day for $10 a month, has been under siege with customer service complaints. This is just one example. Dorothy Wickenheiser of San Francisco found her account suddenly closed, with no refunds and no process to fix it. As with many organizations these days, MoviePass makes great efforts to prevent customers from being able to contact someone about customer service. This is one of my pet peeves. After many hours of hunting, however, Miss Wickenheiser managed to reach somebody finally who informed her that she had violated the terms of agreement by going to see a premium movie. She hadn't, and pointed out to the person that she always goes with her husband who has his own card, yet there didn't seem to be a problem with his card. When San Francisco's ABC News 7 investigated, they found over 1,500 complaints on the Better Business Bureau's website, and that the BBB had given MoviePass an F, the lowest grade possible. MoviePass's response to all the complaints was basically to deny that there was a problem, and if customers wanted to dispute such things, all they had to do was, wait for it, contact their customer service department. They did not, of course, mention the bit about customer service department being virtually impossible to reach. Now let's hear some feel-good stories. Alex Silberman tweeted JetBlue with a simple question regarding standby flights and the company's $50 same-day change fee. The company tweeted back a response within 3 minutes, clearing up Alex's confusion. He thanked them for the information and went about his day. But that's not the end of the story. Knowing Alex would soon be landing at Logan Airport in Boston, the customer service employee who exchanged tweets with him alerted the JetBlue team in Boston, who found and studied Alex's Twitter profile picture. After the plane landed, they intercepted him at the gate and personally greeted him, thus turning an already satisfying customer experience into an unforgettable one. When credit card fraud strikes, the timing is never good, and the anguish is very real. In this case, American Express responded very quickly and on the card member's terms, 100%. Shep Hyken got a call from American Express informing him about multiple charges made overseas. Turns out his card had been stolen. The support team member told Shep the account would be closed right away and the charges would be reversed. But she didn't stop there. When Shep said he would be in another city that evening and not at home to receive the new card the next day, the agent asked if she could reroute the new card to Shep's hotel for a 10:30 a.m. delivery. Shep's take on the encounter? This is more than customer service. This is confidence creation. And my take on customer service is pretty straightforward. We need to offer our customers not just 5-star service, but give them a 6-star experience that goes above and beyond expectations. Taking a potentially negative situation and turning it into a glowing review should be what we all strive to do when faced with an unhappy customer. After all, what does it hurt to give a little bit extra? If you know anything about me, you know that I love my early mornings, and I really love a good cup of fresh roasted coffee. There's nothing better than getting started before the rest of the world with a good cup of joe. That's why I'm so excited to have Mountain Creek Coffee as a partner. The process is so simple. You order, they roast, they ship, you enjoy. They don't roast your beans until an order is placed, which guarantees the absolute freshest coffee that you can get. Check out their artisan dark roast, medium roast, or decaf beans at mtncreekcoffee.com. And when you put in the code EDGE at checkout, you will receive 20% off your first order. I prefer the dark roast because of its full body and bold flavor. You order, they roast, they ship, you enjoy. Log on to mtncreekcoffee.com and enter the code EDGE at checkout, and you will receive a 20% discount off your first order. Pretty cool stuff. Mountain Creek Coffee and Business Edge Radio, a partnership brewed out of the love of coffee. See what I did right there? In today's business world, it's vitally important that you understand what I call the 7 pillars of business success, which are lifestyle design, time management, branding, sales, marketing, pricing, and social media. Regardless of what industry you're in, and whether you have a brick and mortar or are only online, having a solid foundation in these skill sets will set you up for success down the road. And to personally help you with your journey, I've written a book called The Business Basics Bootcamp, the ultimate crash course, now available on Amazon.com and from other fine bookstores. And it'll give you a 30,000-foot view on these topics and many more. It'll help you slow down just a little bit so that you can get your business house in order and get your creative juices a-flowing. Log on to Amazon.com today and get your copy of Business Basics Bootcamp, the ultimate crash course. You can search my name, Mitch Graff, or search the title of the book. In the dog-eat-dog world of business success, the weak will perish and the strong will survive. Which will you be? The world has changed. Forever. We will never go back to when we got our news from Peter Jennings or Tom Brokaw at 6 o'clock every night, or exclusively from our weekly newspaper. It's now an around-the-clock business world that requires us to keep up with the technologies or run the risk of being left behind. Well, today I spend some time with social media guru Ryan Kackley, who has created his own definition of the 24/7 lifestyle. Although he has created a very vibrant business, he has also managed to stay grounded in what his true priorities are, family, and having time to enjoy his life. Ryan is the co-owner and founder of Oregon Marketing Group, or OMG for short, OMG. And you can find them on the web at OregonMarketingGroup.com. OMG is a full-service creative marketing and advertising agency that does their work in-house and with a team of local professionals. He began his entrepreneurial journey in 2000 when he started a hypnosis company that worked with individuals to attain personal growth and change. At the same time, he started a commercial janitorial business cleaning movie theaters. It just goes to show you never know when inspiration will strike you, and it could come from anywhere. After 6 years of late-night cleanings, he decided to make a change that would free up some of his precious time, and that's when he founded OMG, offering digital and advertising services to business. One of his philosophies is that anyone can create an ad, but not everyone can capture the personality of your business and attract the right customers. And when you can do that, good things start to happen. Please enjoy my conversation with Ryan Kackley. Well, Ryan, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Mitch. Thanks for having me.
As you know very well, social media can be extremely overwhelming, to say the least, for most folks. I think as business people, we tend to look at social media as something we do when we're off of work, something we do when there's nothing else to do. But in business, it's pretty much mandatory these days, don't you think, to have a very well-defined game plan on things like video production and SEO strategy, your website design, having professional photos for all your marketing collateral, online advertising, online branding, and anything else having to do with your online presence. In your opinion, what is the most important thing that businesses need to consider before they dive into developing that strategy?
Well, I think social media a lot these days by business owners is viewed as how websites used to be, 20, 30 years ago. Like, oh, I'm in the phone book. I don't need to do that. I don't need a website, but people are kind of that way about social media. It's like, I don't need to post. I'm just, talking to the wind, if you will. And a lot of times businesses are just talking to the wind if they're not having a game plan or strategy. It's always a great idea to have that strategy. First thing for me, when I look at a client, is I look at their website, consider the website to be the central hub and place to drive people from social media to an action. That also includes advertising online, Google ads, Facebook ads, Instagram ads. You generally drive them to a website. Social media companies are starting to make sales online and do different stuff, but still, it's the website that is number one. So we want to make sure that that is functional, aesthetically pleasing, and does all the things that you want it to do. For example, we love to use a system called WordPress in WooCommerce. WooCommerce is a shopping cart. WordPress is a content management system. And in that, you put all your products or upcoming events, whatever it is that you're selling, on your website. And then from there, you can post it on Facebook, Instagram, put it into Google Shopping, because WooCommerce integrates with all of those things very easily.
And Woo is WOO.
Correct.
Commerce.
And so that's the system we build for clients. During COVID, for example, we have done a ton of online ordering systems for restaurants, for box companies, manufacturing local. Take a lot of pride in taking a business that's like a hard business where you generally go in person and then putting it online. We're doing a landscaping shop. So landscaping, bulk material delivered and by the ton, rocks, all that, putting that online for ordering.
And that's interesting because that traditionally is a business model that it's in person. People go see you in person. They make the transaction in person. They make a delivery in person. And so that's how a lot of their marketing has been done in the past. Like you said, it's 20, 30-year-old technology and thought processes. But today, whether it be a restaurant or a landscaper, there's tons of industries where it no longer is an in-person transactional relationship. It requires you to go online to interact with that brand at some level, whether it be for 10 seconds or 10 minutes. But that's been a complete shift, hasn't it?
It has. And that's why we say website's number one, so that you get into Google for people actively searching for your business or your service. And then you can move in from the search, you can move into social media. I consider social media to be more of a branding aspect when you're talking about Facebook and Instagram. Translating the social aspects of that into your website, it's really targeting interests. So when you have contractors and landscapers, Google is going to be a little more effective because it's a direct search, but you're still going to want people to know about your product and service. Restaurants and food are far superior on social media than, say, contractors. Contractors are more focused on Google, but people on social media that you're targeting really want an experience. So if you're an experience-based business like food or ice cream, desserts, or seminars, personal growth, knowledge, technology, that kind of stuff, social media lends itself extremely well to that.
And that's an interesting challenge because for businesses and industries that are used to that in-person interaction and that relationship building, they've had to take that out of that realm and put it online. How do you maintain that personal relationship with your prospect or your customer when you no longer can conduct that interaction in person and you have to do it on the internet?
So with us, we do a lot of content creation. So after we have a person's website set up, we have them showing up in Google organically. Something called Google My Business is very important, which is your map page, used to be Google Maps. Getting reviews on there, all that helps your free traffic, or also known as SEO or organic search. So if you are limited in competitors, you're going to show up in the top 3 on the map and get a ton of free traffic. You don't need to run ads. But generally speaking, there are more than, say, 5 competitors in your field. You're going to need to run some ads and run some social media on top of that.
Unless you hire a professional like you guys to make sure that your SEO is as deep as it can get and you're getting that free traffic going to your website or going to the social media platforms that you engage in, right?
Yeah, and so that's what we do. Is we make sure you're showing up organically. Usually that's like a 3 to 6 month process to show up even locally if you're a new business or haven't been online.
So Ryan, we all have extra time right now. I mean, all of us have more time. Even if our businesses are busy, we have more time because we're not doing the same routines as we used to do. It's so easy to go down the social media rabbit hole from time to time. And we all do it. You know, I get sucked into it too. I was watching a video, Ricky Skaggs and Stephen Curtis Chapman were doing a virtual concert for Camping World last night. And I recorded it and watched it this morning. Well, I found myself, while I was reading an article, I found myself watching and listening to the guys. And then from there, I went and watched a video of Stephen Curtis Chapman doing an interview about how he looks at his family life and his business life. 30 minutes later, I come up, it's like, okay, well, I gained something from that, but still, I went down the rabbit hole. What can you recommend to people who tend to get sucked into those endless hours spent with their nose in their device? What's the one thing that you can recommend to them?
So,
don't do it.
Well, I mean, we all do it. I mean, like, I'll go back to your question, but as a side note, whenever I open a new browser tab on my phone on Chrome, it gives me a lot of article suggestions tailored to my interests and needs. And I learn a lot of new information from those, just opening a tab in Chrome. You know, they got my interest down. I go down that article, and social media rabbit, like Facebook just banned, a group yesterday. I was like, okay, it's the first time the social media platform has banned outright somebody. And I was like, okay, well, that's interesting. But that was from just opening a tab.
Right.
So to me, the one thing that I'd recommend to people is you can set a time limit, set a timer on your phone. If you have, only a few minutes, say 10 minutes, like, okay, well, I'm going to go down this hole for 10 minutes. So it's like to your device, Siri or Google, just say, hey, set a timer for 10 minutes, set a timer for 15 minutes.
Yeah, but most people, Ryan, are going to say, 10 minutes. I'll go another 10 minutes, right? They'll ignore that notification.
Well, for sure. So they're setting a time limit. I mean, almost treating you like a kid, treating yourself like you do a kid. And we do that for our children. I do that for myself. I'm going to spend this amount of time on this project or this thing, then I got to move on to the next one, because we are digital and online all day. And if I don't prioritize and set time limits on all that different aspects, because we do SEO, we do ads, we do video editing, got to shut off phones when video editing or thinking deep or coding.
Otherwise it'd take you 3 days, right?
Yeah, exactly. So for me, a time limit is the number one tool to be able to set and prioritize my schedule. But I understand people will ignore it, just like an alarm in the morning. The other thing is having yourself, like from a content aspect, putting it out there. If you're consuming content, set a time limit. But on the other side of things, as a business, you want people to consume your content.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And the topic of this show that you're interviewing right now for is about education and making sure that you set aside time every single day, not just on Friday afternoons, but every single day, whether it be in the morning or the nighttime. Set aside time that you can invest in your self-improvement and your education to become better at whatever you want it to be, whether it be to be a better marketer or a better Facebook expert or someone that just enjoys growing beans in your garden. If you dedicate some time, within a very short period of time, you are an expert in your field. And so it's very important that people do that. I love repurposing content, and it's a real powerful tool that I think most people don't use to their fullest potential. In fact, once this episode is complete, we will take the monologue, turn it into a blog post, and then I'll take small segments of that monologue and turn it into an episode of what we call the Business Edge Minute, which is a 60-second show that gives quick tips and actionable techniques on a wide range of topics, like how to get the most out of your morning commute, or quick tips on how to best run a meeting, or how to establish an effective morning routine. Then that 60-second episode will have an animated video created to be released across various platforms. And all that starts with a simple thought that I write down on a piece of paper about how I can help make people's lives better. And so repurposing your content is a tremendous opportunity for businesses to expand the brand and give their fans added value in that relationship with you or with your company. If people are new to this approach, what can they do right away in order to start repurposing some of their old content that they created way back in the day, or to create new content that they can distribute?
I was going to say that one of the great things is for putting out content for your business, you want multiple channels, which is essentially what you just said and described.
So rank the channels for me. If you're new to the game here and you're doing things in-house, tell me the top 2 or 3 and rank them in order.
Well, for me, it's the website and a blog. So that's for long-term SEO value. So you become the expert in your field according to Google. Your blog can be videos. It can be text. It can be pictures with text. But you want at least 500 words down on a page describing what's going on. A blog is basically an article or a topic, how to get the best out of your commute. It's a blog post or title. It's basically a topic of conversation. You're putting that in your website. It has its own URL. And then that can be shared on social media, Facebook, around the web.
People consume things in a variety of different ways. We all have our go-tos as far as how we like to consume content, right?
Exactly. So blog's number 1 for your website, for value, in my opinion. Number 2 would be video. Video being on YouTube specifically. Google owns YouTube. It's the second most searched search engine on how to do stuff, how to learn things. So you have your own YouTube channel as well. And you're putting content up there. And then you're putting that on your website as a blog and also embedding those links in your website. And that gives you more SEO value to show up in Google and be the authority in your field. So those 2 things right there are the top 2 that I'd recommend.
Can a business survive today without having a presence on social media, do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it can if it's established and just word of mouth. Oh, we've been going here for, White's Restaurant in Salem, people have been going there for 75 years, if you will. And it can survive, yes. To me, at some point, though, if you're not going there, if you don't have a connection to a business, your grandparents didn't take you there when you were young, then you're going to need to do something more modern. A lot of times restaurants around us have parental or grandparent memories that have been taking them there or been doing business with them for so long. But at a certain point, I would get into the digital world just to get new customers and not rely on family traditional phone book type businesses that have been around.
Explain digital services, how it works, and your idea or your philosophy on it.
So digital services are pretty much anything internet-based. You can set up a website. Obviously, that's number 1, like I mentioned earlier. You want to make it show up in Google, which is SEO. You can say Bing and all the others, but they're kind of secondary to Google. You want to do your Google My Business page, which is your map. Those things all work together. You want to have a YouTube channel for video because that also is searching. Then after you have those down, I would move into Facebook first and then Instagram. Kind of depends on your business and your age range that you're targeting, but Facebook is pretty much everyone these days, older people. Instagram used to be the youngins, but now pretty much everybody's moving to it and on it. TikTok's the newest one. So there's all these different platforms, and most of them are picture and video oriented these days. So there's Pinterest where you got housewives, there's a lot of different crafty sites. So depending on your business and depending what you have time for, the top social media networks I would use are YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram would be the ones that I would do at this moment.
And the key thing there was you said, if you have time. And there's a couple of rules of thumb that come to mind right now. One is great managers and business people put other people around them that are smarter than them, and then they stay out of their way and then let them do their jobs. That's number 1. And number 2, if you aren't very good at something and you don't like doing something, either learn how to do it and do it exceptionally well, or find someone else that can do it for you. In other words, delegate. I think social media is one of those realms where it's easy for us to want to become the expert at Facebook algorithms and learning how to create a proper ad with the right demographic and the right people you're putting the ad in front of. You really can go down a daily rabbit hole, can't you? I mean, you've invested your career into learning everything about it. But for the general Joe like me and all the listeners out there, many listeners that are trying to do a business, working hard every day to provide for their families and the families of their employees, what do you recommend to them to make sure they don't get sucked down that hole, but they still need to have that really viable, vibrant social media platform engagement?
So the way that we do content management for customer or client is we will go and do photo shoot one day. So we'll take photos and video in the same day for say 2 or 3 hours. And that can last us, 3 to 6 months for social media posts, for ad creation, for a lot of different stuff. So for me, in one day I would schedule a photo shoot and video shoot, planning if it's product photography or one of our clients does crawl space work. So getting under crawl spaces in the mud.
That's an interesting niche.
Yeah, it is. Very dirty videos, but I got my gear all dirty, but it's still fun. And
hazard pay. You get hazard pay for that.
Yeah. We'll take photos one day, and that'll last us, 6 months for content creation. So you plan a photo shoot day, get your video concepts down, get your photos down, and get it all in that one day. Then edit them the next day. Again, this can be, next day being next week. Doesn't necessarily have to be all in the same week. Then after that, we spend one whole day. Well, we spend more than that around the first of the month, scheduling and creating the posts. So generally speaking, we'll do, 3 to 5 posts a week for a client. And we will make them all in one day.
Is that the sweet spot, 3 to 5?
Yeah. I mean, it depends on your business. Food you can do every day if you have specials, like the crawl space work.
At what point do people get burned out of hearing from you on a regular basis?
Generally, people don't. That's the thing is, I used to follow those rules of only 3, but with food, people want to see the specials every day. They want to
see photos, see those photos, right?
Yeah, it's the photos. And then they want to interact with the Chicken King wing who ate the most chicken wings. And you can post 3 or 4 times a day in food and restaurant showing the life that's going on. People will just scroll past. It's almost like political ads or things that you don't care about, or you'll scroll past, but you still see it. You're still exposed to it.
Right.
And if you're engaged with it, you want to see it. Oh, that's cool. Bobby just ate 25 wings. He's the king. All right. So next time we like to schedule posts for the entire month for a client. So we'll spend a day doing that, and we'll screenshot, put them all in draft to have the client approve them. And then after they're approved, they can see them all in one email, 20 posts for the month. And they go, okay, yes, I like that. No, I don't like that. And then we'll change it, get it perfect. And then we'll schedule them to go out on those different times and different times of the day.
Let's take a short break for a word from our wonderful marketing partners. Hello, Unleashed Tribe. I am so honored to have you as a loyal listener, and I'm very excited to tell you about the Business Edge Radio app, now available on Apple and Android devices. You can catch up on past episodes, watch short videos of the Business Edge Minute, our 60-second show that gives you quick and easy tips on building a better business and living a better life. And you'll get access to bonus materials that are only available on the app. In fact, I have a nice little PDF bonus waiting for you there right now. Plus, you can email the show, call the show, connect with us on social, check out our website, and even make a nice fluffy omelet. No, you can't really do that. Just go to the iTunes Store or Google Play Store, and you can download the Business Edge Radio app so you can be one of the cool kids on your block. Business Edge Radio, the ultimate brainstorming session for your business and life. Now available in the App Store. Download it today. And if you don't, I'll come visit you on your day off. If you know anything about me, you know that I love my early mornings, and I really love a good cup of fresh roasted coffee. There's nothing better than getting started before the rest of the world with a good cup of joe. That's why I'm so excited to have Mountain Creek Coffee as a partner. The process is so simple. You order, they roast, they ship, you enjoy. They don't roast your beans until an order is placed, which guarantees the absolute freshest coffee that you can get. Check out their artisan dark roast, medium roast, or decaf beans at mtncreekcoffee.com. And when you put in the code EDGE at checkout, you will receive 20% off your first order. I prefer the dark roast because of its full body and bold flavor. You order, they roast, they ship, you enjoy. Log on to mtncreekcoffee.com and enter the code EDGE at checkout, and you will receive a 20% discount off your first order. Pretty cool stuff. Mountain Creek Coffee and Business Edge Radio, a partnership brewed out of the love of coffee. See what I did right there? What softwares can you recommend for people that are doing this themselves?
Generally speaking, we like to do things natively. So with Facebook and Instagram, there's something called Creator Studio that's new this year. A lot of people don't know about Creator Studio yet. So it's almost like how Hootsuite was in the past. Mm-hmm. Basically, Facebook created it for Facebook and Instagram. So if you go to Creator Studio or type it in Google, you'll come to that. And you can schedule Instagram posts there, which most people don't know, which was really nice. You can schedule Facebook posts, and you can do it for a multitude of pages.
I think Hootsuite's like $45 a month.
Yes, it is.
It's very, very cost prohibitive for a lot of small businesses.
Exactly. So the Facebook Creator Studio has been a blessing. It's nice to be able to schedule all that, and it's essentially free.
And you do it one time, and then you're done for the month. or you're done for the week, or whatever chunk of time that you want to plan. You get it done once and just set it and forget it, right? The old Ron Popeil, set it and forget it. And that's the nice thing about these softwares, is that it allows you to do it and then back away for a little bit of time, unless you are interacting with the people that are interacting with you, whether it be through instant messaging or Facebook posts. And then you can have somebody that is dedicated to go on there on a daily basis, not all day every day, but let's just say from 8 to 8:15 and 4:45 to 5 every day, to go and respond to people, answer questions, return a DM, whatever it is, but to control that so that you're not spending all day waiting for that thing to pop up saying, oh, someone just liked my post.
Exactly. And so we will intersperse current events in with our scheduled posts.
Nice.
So, you have your scheduled posts that are kind of core to your business and things that are going on, but then we'll post current events or current specials for a restaurant. If something happened, we'll put that in that's timely. The other thing is LinkedIn. Hootsuite allows you 3 social media accounts for free.
Right.
So generally we use Hootsuite for LinkedIn for scheduling posts, because you can't natively schedule LinkedIn on its platform. So we use Hootsuite for LinkedIn to schedule posts for the month, which is nice.
I like it.
And it's free.
So here's a tough one. Businesses right now are reinventing. They're trying to figure out how to move forward with our new culture. And it's never going to go back to the way it was. There's going to be a change that is there forever. And we all have to kind of pivot, right? So how do you decide, regardless of the industry that you're in, how do you decide what you're worth and how much you charge somebody for the services that you provide? How do you come up with that?
Oh man, that's a good one, because that has changed over time as I've grown and networked and increased my own worth, if you will. Starting out, it used to be, $10 to $15 an hour was okay, if you will, because that's what I thought I was worth. And over time, as skills have increased, as I've increased my network and who I've networked with, and the complexity of the tasks and challenges have increased as far as like web, online ordering, that kind of stuff, my worth has gone up. But it's an arbitrary decision ultimately to decide what you're worth. It was something that really took me a while to understand.
It has to do with what your personal goals are for your lifestyle and your family and your personal life, doesn't it?
100%. When I got married, my wife said, I need you to bring in this much income per month. This was a while ago, a long time ago, over 13 years ago, something like that. And I'm like, sure, I can do that. But I wasn't quite tracking where all my money was coming from. Fell short in that first month because I was thinking she was wanting this big paycheck.
Right.
This one single paycheck. My money came in piecemeal at the time, and I would get to within a couple $100 of the amount that she wanted and not make it because a bill would come in for my office or for my phone or something. And after that first month, she's like, it doesn't matter that it comes in at one time. I just want this amount for the household and all that. Because I was self-employed, I just gave up a couple businesses to do my dream thing. And after I got through that whole mental block of one paycheck, I was able to meet it just fine. And now I'm 10 times that. But at that first beginning was a little rough for me, getting past that mental block of what I was worth and thinking about money. It's like, oh, I can't do that amount. I can't quite make it. But then once I was like, oh, just do 3 payments to myself for the family, that really changed stuff and never looked back since. It was just a mental game of what you're worth. And it's really, you set the limits there. And right. It's really weird when people start paying you. They pay you what you're worth, what you think you're worth.
Well, and it has to do with experience. It has to do with education. And for those people that do invest in their education and get experience on a day-to-day basis, success and failure, I think some of the best lessons I've ever learned are from falling flat on my face and not being successful. And I think that's where the true lessons are and the true value of that experience lies, is when you don't make it, when you have to get yourself up by the bootstraps and say, you know what, bad decision, or that wasn't something that made money for me, but I learned a lot of lessons. And it helps them with the next venture, the next idea, the next business, the next day.
Yeah, one of my failings was a mobile billboard truck.
Mobile billboard truck? Tell me about that.
Yeah. So that was, I've always placed billboards in traditional media for businesses as well. We prefer digital, but sometimes a billboard is great for a client. Sometimes TV is great for a client, and radio, traditional media can be quite effective. I just prefer digital because I can track it and know what's going on.
Right.
Bought a physical truck that had billboards that you would print out and put on the side and drive around. And here in Oregon, it was pretty cost prohibitive because people did not necessarily want that. It was kind of like a one-hit wonder. So people will not advertise monthly like they will with everything else. And so they would want it for like one giant campaign and want you to drive around to announce one new thing. And so it didn't quite pay for itself. I think I broke even, but it wasn't profitable. So I was like, well,
hey, it sounded good on paper, right? You write it down. Yeah. And that's a cool thing about business ideas, Ryan, is you have this idea. You don't know if it's going to work or not, but you write it on paper. You develop the thought out. If it costs some money, you got to figure out how much is it going to cost me? Who are my customers going to be? How am I going to sell it? How am I going to promote it? How am I going to brand the company? And then you make sure you're taking what I call measured risks, right? You don't want to put in every cent from your 401k on an idea that you have no idea if it's a proof of concept that's going to prove itself worthy. So you do a measured risk, and then if it's successful, you go to the next layer of the onion, and then the next and the next. And eventually, you may have something that starts with an idea on a piece of paper and turns out to be something that's franchised. I mean, that thing could have been nationwide, right? Had it hit for you, Ryan, you could see these trucks all over the country. But it didn't. But you're willing to try it, and I think that's admirable.
Yeah. See, the thing is, if I moved to Vegas, I would be successful in the mobile billboard trucks. But that's the thing. It's a balance between where you live.
That's right.
What market bear around here, mobile billboard trucks, you don't really see.
When you're not working and investing in yourself and going down the rabbit holes that you go through on a daily basis, what do you do for fun? What kind of hobbies you got?
Well, yeah. So my life, I kind of set up to have 3 days in the office. I'm in the office daily, but we go out and take photos and film and have film projects. So it's nice to break up the work week with film and video, getting out and creating some of that content. So that is part hobby, is always increasing my video and photography skills. It's for work, but it's also for art projects. So I'll take my kids out and do some photos with them and go out and make a video or fly my drone somewhere. We are drone certified for commercial as well, which is nice. Other than that, we have a small farm, 2.5 acres. And we've got chickens out here that we free range. And one of my major hobbies is wood.
Like woodworking?
Well, no, wood cutting, wood collecting, wood splitting, wood stacking, wood burning.
That's an interesting hobby.
Yeah. So it's for some reason, when I have wood, I feel rich.
Well, rich is personal interpretation, right? It's not just about money. It's about friends and family and surrounding yourself with things that you like to do and people you love and like. Rich is a personal decision. And yeah, I definitely agree with you.
So we that's one of my hobbies is wood, photography. Love the outdoors. Used to do a lot more hiking. My kids are young, so when they get older, I'll probably get back into hiking and bike riding more. Those are kind of the standards that I've been doing lately.
Well, Ryan Kackley, thanks for being on the show, and good luck in the future. Stay well, my friend.
Will do. Thanks for having me again.
A hypnosis company, a janitorial service, a digital marketing company, a mobile billboard business. Ryan, for sure, has the entrepreneurial flame burning deep inside of him, that's for sure. We all have ideas floating around in our brains, some good and some not so good. But most people will let those ideas stay in their head forever and will never try to give those ideas wings to soar. I can honestly say that we are living in an era when starting a business or launching a new product has never been easier. Doing anything is scary, I understand. But doing nothing is even more scarier to me. Having the fortitude to take that risk and risk failure is what our country was founded on. Success is born out of the ashes of failure. We all want our lives to be fulfilled and rich and overflowing with family and good friends and good times. We all have our own vision for what a perfect life looks like. Ryan has built his company based on what he wants his perfect life to look like. You can reach OMG at OregonMarketingGroup.com. Fans of Business Edge Radio, I have a very special treat for you. As you know, I love barbecuing and making up any excuse to get myself outdoors. And that's why I'm so excited to partner with Barbecue Nation. They make incredible sauces and rubs and spices and meat shredders and grill scrapers and lots more. And they're offering a deal for our listeners. Check out bbqnation.net. And when you place an order for any of their products, you'll receive a 20% discount off your order when you enter the word EDGE at checkout. Looking for a magnet that lists your cooking temperatures or different types of smoking woods? They got that. Need a heavy-duty set of meat shredders for your pulled pork or shredded chicken sliders? They got that too. Or my favorite is their Magic Dust Everything Rub that will spice up just about any dish. Log on to bbqnation.net. That's bbqnation.net today. And when you enter the code EDGE at checkout, you'll receive a 20% discount just because you hang out with us on the show. Barbecue Nation, get your grill on. In today's business world, it's vitally important that you understand what I call the 7 pillars of business success, which are lifestyle design, time management, branding, sales, marketing, pricing, and social media. Regardless of what industry you're in, and whether you have a brick and mortar or are only online, having a solid foundation in these skill sets will set you up for success down the road. And to personally help you with your journey, I've written a book called The Business Basics Bootcamp, the ultimate crash course, now available on Amazon.com and from other fine bookstores. And it'll give you a 30,000-foot view on these topics and many more. It'll help you slow down just a little bit so that you can get your business house in order and get your creative juices up flowing. Log on to Amazon.com today and get your copy of Business Basics Bootcamp, the ultimate crash course. You can search my name, Mitch Graff, or search the title of the book. In the dog-eat-dog world of business success, the weak will perish and the strong will survive. Which will you be?
Time for Cooking Corner with Mitch. Yum.
Some people love seafood, yours truly included, and some people don't care for it at all. Well, my recipe today will make even the most ardent seafood disliker a fan of things that live in the ocean. Except for my wife, who thinks she doesn't like anything that comes out of the sea, except for maybe fresh tuna. Today's recipe is for a wonderful baked crab dip. First steps, as always, turn on some very good music, grab yourself a nice beverage, and join me in the kitchen. Whenever we host a party for friends and family, we will put a lot of thought into what kind of party we want to have. After all, if we're going to go through all the trouble and expense, you want it to be memorable and fulfilling for everyone attending. There's so many wonderful dip recipes. Many of them are easy to prepare, and some are as hearty as eating a full meal. Did you know that March 23rd is National Chip and Dip Day? Dips are commonly used for finger foods, appetizers, and other easily held foods. Thick dips with sour cream, creme fraiche, milk, yogurt, mayonnaise, and soft cheese or beans are a staple of American hors d'oeuvres, and around many a table come the holidays. Did you know that French onion was introduced as a flavor in the 17th century? Sour cream was invented in the United States between 1815 and 1825, and somewhere around there, the first dip as we know it must have come into being. No one has laid claim to that distinction, but if I was around then, I would have. So here's what you're going to need for this recipe. 1 8-ounce packet of cream cheese. You can zap it in the microwave to get it soft for about 15 seconds. 2 cups of sour cream. 2 cups of real crab meat. If you're on a budget, you can go ahead and use the mock crab minced up small as well. 2 cups of shredded sharp cheddar cheese. 4 scallions or green onions, thinly sliced. Once everything is in the bowl, take a large spoon and gently stir it all together into a nice, even consistency. On a separate plate, you can add your vegetables like carrots, celery, cucumbers, slices of tomatoes, or whatever your favorite crackers are. I like mine with good old saltine crackers. Nothing much better than that. In a medium mixing bowl, beat the cream cheese until smooth. Add your sour cream, mix in the crab meat, add the crab mixture into a serving pan and top it with the sharp cheddar cheese on top. Preheat your oven to 350 degrees. Bake it uncovered for about 45 minutes or until the dip is heated throughout. Then you garnish with your scallions. This is fantastic not only as a dip, but can be used as a pasta sauce, sandwich spread, a meat marinade, or by the spoonful, as I like to eat my dips. You can also substitute crab meat with shrimp, smoked salmon, or leave it out altogether and just have a bowl of goody goodness. Give this one a try. Let me know how it turns out. Well, that will do it for this edition of Business Edge Radio. My parting shot today is this. The more you read, the more things you will know. The more that you learn, the more places you'll go. Dr. Seuss. Until next time, this is Mitch Graff reminding you to live every day like it's a Saturday and to live with passion. I'll catch you later.
Thanks for hanging out with Business Edge Radio. If you enjoyed today's show, we invite you to subscribe, rate, and review. Then hop on over to www.mitchgraff.com to get even more meat and potatoes. We also invite you to follow the show at facebook.com/Unleashed Tribe. The most valuable asset that any of us has is our time. And we thank you for choosing to spend some of your precious time with us.